Hello and welcome to Collect Jurassic World. I'm Victoria.
And this is Tim.
And we are your hosts on this adventure through all things Jurassic World.
That includes toys and collectibles, as well as movie, TV, and community updates.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the park is open. Radio over to Camp Cretaceous. Tim, come in, please.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, we're just getting settled in here. You know, everyone just got done fighting over their bunks, and I think we're ready to see some dinosaurs.
Awesome. All the kids are being kept in line. Nobody's getting into trouble.
Yeah, I think we've got them all counted here. I don't think anyone's snuck away to look at the compy pen or anything. So yeah, it's going to be a wonderful summer here at Camp Cretaceous.
Awesome. Imagine that, getting into trouble. I know you guys are going to keep them in line and make sure that things don't get out of hand. So.
Exactly. No, no trouble here.
No, they're in good hands. Everybody at Jurassic World is in great hands.
Well, thanks for checking in, Victoria. I'm going to kick it back to you, and maybe you can let us know what's going on around the park today.
Yeah, a lot of things going on around the park. We have plenty to talk about today, but we're going to start tracking some assets here. And the first thing that we're looking at here, looking at our analysis, is that blue has been spotted at Tuesday morning around the U.S., from the amber collection. And this is an interesting development because as of yet, we haven't heard of any amber collection hitting at Tuesday morning or at any other closeout type retailer.
No.
We'll get into something amber related that is occurring in a big box store in the U.S. But as far as blue goes, it sounds like if you want to get blue and you want to get her at a bit of a discount, I think they're going for $16.99.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, then Tuesday morning would be the place to check if you have one locally.
And they're Tuesday morning are like all across the nation, right? They're not regional.
Yes, they're all over the place. We have some here in California. My parents have one in their hometown in my hometown in Texas. So there
right
should
here
be
in Chicago too. So
yeah,
I've never actually been in one before.
Yeah, it's interesting. What brought them into my world as a collector was actually back in 2006, I think it was, Master Replicas, the company that used to do a lot of prop replicas, including the Star Wars Force Effects lightsabers and the props and all that. They used to make these scaled replicas. They were small, I think it was 0.45 scale lightsaber hilts and blasters and stuff and helmets and stuff.
Small stuff. Okay.
For whatever reason, no retailer carried these. You had to buy them online, but for some reason, they were carrying that scaled replica line of lightsabers. Huh. So
that stuff is so mysterious to me. How these bargain stores work. I know last year, all of us Jurassic collectors kind of discovered it was right up leading into the holidays that all of these. Ross and TJ Maxx and what was the other one? Burlington. Just all of these stores that I traditionally just don't ever really go in because I'm not I don't buy a lot of clothes. I buy toys.
Yeah.
So, but when I found out there was toys there, I was going to every Burlington and Ross I could find. And it's kind of fun because every store has something different.
No, that's true. Even Star Wars, I remember going to the one of my parents' I think it was at Thanksgiving this past year and the year before then. They had some decent Star Wars Black Series stuff. So,
yeah,
really good prices. So, yeah, they have all kinds of stuff at Tuesday morning, not just toys. There's all kinds of things you can get at bargains. So,
right.
But, yeah, really cool to see Blue making her way around the country.
Totally, yeah. And I think not to dissuade anyone from going out and hunting I want to keep calling it Ruby Tuesdays, but it's not Ruby Tuesdays. It's Tuesday morning. It's the morning after Ruby Tuesdays. I bet Amazon will see a price drop in blue too. If they have enough to kind of offload at bargain there, I'm guessing Amazon will price match because we've seen those Amber Collection figures get real low on Amazon.
Yeah, totally.
Real low.
Yeah.
How low did Malcolm get a couple weeks ago?
$4.
Yeah, $4 for it's a $25 pretty articulated kind of nice figure for $4. That's crazy.
Yeah. They were matching GameStop's prices and the Raptor was $13, but Amazon never matched that one. It was just Malcolm for some reason.
Yeah, it is interesting how that stuff works. But anyways, Amber Collection. Let's get to the big Amber Collection news. Where is Amber Collection popping up now, Victoria?
Amber Collection is not only available at Tuesday morning if you're looking for Blue, but if you're looking for her sister, you may be able to get her at Target.
Delta, that's right. And first off, I might sound like a real filthy casual Jurassic fan right now, but are the Raptor Squad siblings?
Yeah, I think so. When Owen and Claire are talking about the Indominus, and she says, "Oh, you train the Raptors or something," and he's like, "Yeah, siblings. They've been since birth."
Well, anyway, Victoria said it, so it's canon. So it's canon. They're sisters. Okay, I did not know that, but yeah, Delta at Target, which Delta just came out a couple months ago too. So, wild that it's at Target. I would not have predicted that for this year that Amber Collection would be showing up at Target.
Yeah, it's interesting, and of course, we talked a couple episodes back about some of the leaks that were making their way into Target system regarding the Amber Collection. We went over a few of the character names and species that had leaked out. And this is interesting. I think it's a really great thing because as of yet, Amber Collection hasn't made an impact at retail beyond GameStop.
Yeah.
And, GameStop is a specialty store. So to see them hitting at a big box store like Target definitely means that this line is going to get a lot more exposure than it's had.
Yeah, front and center in the Jurassic toy aisle. Even if you went into a GameStop that had these, which I'd gone to a couple, it wasn't like it was easy to find, So it never ceases to amaze me, how many fans of Jurassic in general or just collectors don't know about something that someone like you or I just takes for granted. And I'm imagining that there's a lot of people out there that would buy Amber Collection that literally don't know about it because there's been no fanfare around it. So seeing it at Target's probably going to be kind of a spur to start collecting more of it for a lot of people.
Yeah, and right now it's just Delta, but who knows? Maybe next month they'll have Echo. Maybe next month they'll have some of the other items in Amber, some of the humans. Who knows?
Yeah. I feel like Nedry and Dilophosaurus would be a great Target friendly wave. I'm kind of suspect about one Raptor from the Raptor Squad doing well. It's if you want one, you're gonna want all four, and if all the blues are going to Tuesday morning, they're not gonna have any to sell at Target. So it's I feel like they should maybe kind of offer something that doesn't make you feel like you're missing out on something else, which I think is what Nedry is such a iconic Jurassic character in his yellow raincoat, so I think he would be a good one too.
He totally is. And putting on my tinfoil hat here, Tim, as we sometimes do,
all right, I
kind of feel like maybe, just maybe, these Raptor Blue allotments that are hitting Tuesday morning were intended for Target.
Could be.
For whatever reason, they didn't pick them up for their last spring reset or whenever it was. And they ended up dumping them off to Tuesday morning. And, all these months later, they're like, okay, well, now we want to carry it. But the latest figure available in terms of the dinosaurs, or one of the later figures, is Delta. So
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I from what I hear, Amber Collection has not had a very smooth sort of behind the scenes go at it either, which kind of explains its awkward launch and lack of visibility and awareness among collectors. So that totally sounds believable to me that how a bargain store like that would get a huge quantity of figures to burn through is from something like Target deal falling through or something.
Yeah. And I just got to shout out our mutual friend Nick, who picked one of these Raptor Blues up for me at Tuesday morning. So that's an extra for me. I already had blue, but wanted an extra for toy photos and whatnot to travel with. So
it's a great figure. I think it's probably one of my favorite Amber Collection figures. I'm not even a blue fan, and I gotta just give respect to that figure. It's a good one.
It is a good one, and it's definitely a good one if you need to have an extra of something. I don't think it's a bad one to have an extra of.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, this is just the first step. And we talked about leaks a little bit a couple episodes ago. And I think Target's going to have a lot of Amber Collection. Probably, within a year, within 6 months, we're going to see a lot more figures there. So exciting stuff.
Absolutely exciting.
Enough about Amber Collection for now. There is a lot of other toys popping up at Target and Walmart. We'll keep it pretty general here, but all the newest figures from Mattel, mostly aligning with Camp Cretaceous, like that new Soundstrike Parasaurolophus with the crazy metallic paint. All that stuff's showing up at all these stores everywhere, which is just more good news for people trying to track these figures down.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not been to Walmart in a bit, so I'm not sure if the situation has changed. Previously, they didn't have any Jurassic at my local Walmarts.
Yeah.
But I did go to Target this week. Didn't really see much. They had a few things in the way of Star Wars, but they didn't really have too much in terms of Jurassic. So, but no, that's good. I've been seeing those reports too. People are finding Snap Squad. They're finding Attack Packs. Of course, like we just talked about, they're finding Amber Collection Delta. So... it's really nice. Yeah, that's what we want to see. We want the stocks to be shelves. We want the shelves to be stocked, and we want to make sure there's plenty of product out there for everybody.
And then we want the old figures sort of moving their way through, because it's you kind of get, even though we usually collect stuff so fast that by the time we see it in store we already have it. I still kind of get sick of seeing the same stuff over and over again. So it's nice to see. I think at my Target they have the new Sound Strikes, and I haven't seen those on shelf yet, so it's kind of cool. And those figures just pop off the shelf, so I think kids going through are gonna go crazy for them, because they're just the Majungasaurus is so colorful.
Yes, that is a really cool one to see.
So yeah, just more toys popping up everywhere in the US for availability. Always a good sign.
But it's not only Target and Walmart that are carrying Jurassic, right? There's another place that we talked about in depth in our last episode that's also bringing on the Jurassic toys.
Right, McDonald's. And I know you and me will probably nerd out a little bit later on the McDonald's toys that we tracked down for Jurassic Camp Cretaceous, but there's even more showing up in other countries. I'm not willing to, book a trip to go get a Happy Meal in Korea, but if I did, they have some figures that we didn't get here in the U.S. It feels like sort of a jip that we got books instead of more figures.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm a fan of Happy Meal toys. It's something I've always been interested in. Occasionally, McDonald's will carry something that I'll collect the whole set. I know we've talked about that before. But I don't, to my knowledge, know that I've seen them, and they've probably done it. I just haven't seen them do something like this where they'll offer certain things in the U.S. from the same promotion that gets released somewhere else. Maybe the little railroad cars, didn't they do all the Jurassic ones somewhere else a few years ago?
I don't remember. I'm with you. I'm like, I've never heard of this, but I've also never tracked anything quite so closely. So maybe it happens all the time. But to kind of release, so there's 12 figures in all, and like 4 came to the U.S. That's Bumpy, T-Rex, Triceratops, and who am I forgetting? Toro. 4 came to the U.S., and then I think like those 4 came to South Korea as well, but they were joined by Indominus Rex, Velociraptor Blue, Baryonyx, and Brachiosaurus, which they're just adorable. Like Brachiosaurus looks so cute. Baryonyx is kind of weird, but I like the blue from there too. So like already you're seeing sort of Happy Meal toys exclusive to a country. And then Japan says, oh, we have Pteranodon and Stegosaurus over here, but they also didn't get like all the rest of the figures. They only got some of them. Like they only had 6. Just super weird. And then all of a sudden Hungary is like, oh, wait. We have all the figures. We also have Stiggy Moloch and what's the last one I'm thinking of? Stiggy Moloch and Parasaurolophus, which is, you don't get enough Parasaurolophus toys, so I was super excited about that. So it's like there's just figures everywhere all over the world, and I'm sure it's not even done yet. I'm sure by the time this episode comes out, it'll like Indonesia will have like something else. I don't know, but it's crazy. It's just and it kind of makes me like bummed for what probably was supposed to happen in the U.S. Don't you think we probably should have gotten all those figures?
Yeah, did those countries get the books, or did they just get the figures?
No, only us. We got the books. Lucky us.
Yeah, I don't know. It's odd, but the books are.
Books are
in
cool.
Theory, maybe more useful. I don't know.
I guess.
The books. Can you learn anything from these books? I'm kind of sad to say I haven't opened any of my books, so I don't really know what's in them.
I looked at them just to see if there was like new new dinosaur like renders or whatever, but I'm not stoked about it. I know if as a kid I would have been like, what?
Is it just the activities, like the color and cut?
Oh no, it's mostly like reading. It's mostly like facts.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good stuff. Reading literacy is hugely important, and if the kids are interested in dinosaurs, and that's a way to facilitate their reading. So I I like that. I mean, I think they can be useful, and
and it kind of gives you a little bit of peek into the show too.
Exactly. So, you have a little extra time, you're at home, you can, look at a book like this, and hopefully your parents take you back to get some of the toys too.
Yeah, get the actual toys. I'd still rather have a Peristore Office McDonald's toy, but I'll say, like, with Collect Jurassic, like the website, and like they have an email open, like I have never been inundated with like information requests for anything ever, like these McDonald's toys. I don't know if we have like a lot of those sorts of listeners that listen to the Collect Jurassic World podcast, but if you're out there, hello. But I feel like I just have tons of moms being like, I'm trying to find these toys for my kid. They keep getting the book. Where can I get this toy? It's like, it's so funny. And then I have a lot of people like international markets who are like, I'm in the Philippines. I want these toys. Do you know if they're coming? Like, I've just never seen that level of interest through what I kind of, filter through with the stuff I, kind of operate on the internet. It's just it's cool to see something take off. But I think, you said you love Happy Meal toys. I think Happy Meal toys are just one of those things that sort of like transcend like your fandom. You're like, I just like Happy Meal toys. I don't even know if I really love Jurassic World, but I love Happy Meal toys, so I want these.
Yeah, there's definitely that, and then there's definitely people that like Jurassic, and when they tie it in like this and they give you a toy, it comes in an egg, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
It's fun, and they're inexpensive, obviously.
That's
and I
true
think,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of the appeal. We talk a lot about mass-produced plastic dinosaur toys when we have options for higher-end things, but we're always drawn back to those low-cost plasticky toys that we can put on our desks and play with and whatnot. So there's a lot of appeal there.
Yeah, and they're small, so you can basically fit them anywhere. You mentioned the eggs. I think it's worth kind of noting that, like, out of the 12 figures, every single one of them has its own unique egg. Whether it's like the coloring or the speckling or the base plastic, it's kind of a fun detail. Another thing they really didn't have to do. They could have just done the same egg 12 times, but they're just cool toys. And again, I sort of sad for what could have been in the U.S., but Camp Cretaceous is not over. Jurassic World Dominion obviously is coming later next year, so maybe more McDonald's toys are in our future.
Maybe we'll have a whole new set to have to track down, and plenty of plain cheeseburgers to digest on the way.
Hey, I like plain cheeseburgers too. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's so bad but so good.
All right, looking around the park, I think we do want to talk about some of the new attractions coming our way and upcoming exhibits. Let's head back to Amber Collection. We cannot stop talking about that in this episode. But something cool coming out soon for Amber Collection. Yeah,
so we're talking about the Raptor Squad, the siblings, the Wrapped Pack, as I have been calling them lately. So yeah, we're still missing one raptor, right? And we got Blue. She was the first one. We then got Charlie. That was kind of a weird thing. Then we got Delta. But obviously we need Echo. So are we going to be getting Echo pretty soon here, Tim?
I think we're going to be getting Echo very soon. So kind of on the heels of Delta showing up at Target, Echo popped up on Target.com with you couldn't order it. But all the images were up there, like all the different angles in the box. So I think it's probably right around the corner. If not Target, maybe Amazon or Big Bad Toy Store or somebody. I'm sure will be offering orders for it right around the corner. But what do you think of this paint job?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I feel like every time we get new Raptors from the Wrap Pack, we always talk about, what do you think about the paint job? How does the paint job compare to the last time they did this Raptor? And this is no difference. It's interesting. I can't say that it's film accurate. It's unique. It doesn't look bad by any means. It's just, I don't know that it matches quite what we see in the film or even in Camp Cretaceous.
Yeah, this stuff's all kind of lost on me because I'm colorblind, which I'm not like, it means I can see color. I just don't have I'm not very good at differentiating colors. So all the drama and controversy around all of the Raptor Squad figures, every time there's drama because of the paint coloration's a little weird. It's always just okay, I'm just whatever. It looks like a different color Raptor to me. I'm good with it. But I've really picked up this time on sort of the outcry around, or that's sort of the reaction around Echo being so far off. I think it's because we've got these 3 other figures that are, fairly solid, or at least they're not so far off from the film.
Right.
But Echo comes along, and I guess, we're missing we're missing green stripes or something like that on it that are very evident in the movie.
We're missing a lot of stripes on this one. I mean, if you look at the belly, it's just kind of like yellow. There's a little bit of shading, a little bit of striping, but I don't know. It's like in the movie, she kind of had more of like a tiger stripe pattern. I mean, not really like the Lost World, but kind of like in a different way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. This just seems like very minimally done. Like it looks like they put the least amount of effort into this one.
Yeah, there definitely is not a lot of stripes on it. And I've heard people say that it's like sort of aligned with its appearance in Camp Cretaceous, which I can kind of see that a little bit more than. I can see the resemblance in there more than I can see it from the movie, but it's still just sort of a puzzling turn of events. Not surprising when you consider, the kind of the drama we go through with paint apps on Raptor Squad in general. But it's a cool looking figure. It's awesome looking, just without the context of what it is.
Right. It's nice to be able to finish the set. That's been a thing we've wondered for some time now. The only weird thing, as you know, is that Blue did not come with that headset. So
right.
I was hoping that with one of these Raptors we get 2 headsets. That we could give one to Blue, but that doesn't seem to be happening.
Maybe they'll release like another Owen figure with his sleeves like rolled up a little bit more, and then they'll throw in another harness, and then there'll be another reason to buy an Owen figure.
Yeah, one based off the first Jurassic World.
Now you're talking something that would actually be cool. I was just kidding. Now that would be cool to get an actual variation of Owen with that made sense to have the harness with him too. Yeah, that's just one of those weird things that we'll never. I was kind of thinking about this today, that maybe the packaging for the Amber Collection Jurassic Park Velociraptor, like the whole like bubble and all that stuff, it doesn't have a little space for the harness. And maybe when they were producing Blue, they were like, it's easier to just reuse these pieces and we won't do the harness for this one. And nobody will ever care about it or talk about it on a podcast. So it doesn't matter. And of course it does matter.
Yeah, it does matter. But, I guess maybe you could say that Blue is based off of Fallen Kingdom, and, maybe later, maybe they'll repack her later with the harness, the helmet, and they'll have to buy her again.
Right. I know you mentioned Nick already in this episode, our mutual friend. I know he's holding out for some sort of like 4-pack of these figures. I think he finally gave in with Tuesday Morning, but at the time he was holding out for some sort of like, Costco exclusive 4-pack or something of all the figures. So it could happen. It definitely could happen. And I bet if it happens, there'll be enough like variation with the Raptors that we'll both have to buy it again.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's unintentional, anytime they go back and they bring back a sculpt with, an existing color palette, they oftentimes you'll find tweaks. Sometimes they don't even mean to do them. It's just that it's been so much time
happens, right?
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah, I did want to mention too that Echo is apparently missing the scar as well. I guess Echo has a scar in the movie, and as far as we can tell, absent from the toy.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah. But yeah, still cool figure on the way. Any new toy we get excited about around here, which is kind of brings me to my next non-Mattel piece of news here. I don't know if a lot of people have heard about this, but I think we'll start hearing about them more and more. There's a new collectible toy line. Right now, it's just in Australia, but it's coming at least to the U.S., if not internationally, like kind of closer to spring. But they're all new toy line from this company called Toy Monster called Captivz, with a Z. And they're like these eggs that you open up and there's slime inside, and then there's like a little dinosaur you build, a Jurassic dinosaur. And they're actually pretty cool. Like there's a surprising amount of detail on them.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the picture you sent me of these, and they look fun. I mean, this goes back to what we're talking about, inexpensive, mass-produced little plasticky toys.
Small
that are
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, stuff that you can just buy on a whim.
Right.
And yeah, these look neat. They are Jurassic World branded. They're not like knockoffs or anything. And yeah, so the slime is fun. The egg is fun. The dino is fun. And being able to assemble it's a neat little element. And I kind of want to get my hands on one of these. I want to play with the slime, I think, more than anything else.
More than anything else. Yeah, I think I think it's kind of nice, too, to have something not like compete, but in a way compete, but sort of challenge like the Mattel minis that we already have, that I think that line has really gotten stale. I enjoy collecting them. You know, every once in a while they'll do like a little paint variation or do a metallic version, but those dinosaurs aren't very detailed whatsoever, and they really aren't doing anything new with them. But these Captivz figures, I mean, they're all new sculpts. They're nothing like Mattel, and they just have a lot more paint detail on them, period. I mean, the T-Rex looks awesome. Indominus Rex looks awesome. So some of them look really, really cool. Some of them look, you know, kind of, you get what you pay for. But like you said, the egg and the slime, it's the whole package for, you know, for kids and stuff. So I predict these will be a much bigger thing closer to Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah, they could be. Yeah, and where are they selling these right now?
Just in Australia, like at Kmart and I think maybe Target in Australia. But I've actually been talking to somebody at Toy Monster, a really nice lady named Claire. I think she runs their marketing, or at least some part of, you know, communications. And yeah, she let us know that like they'll be coming closer to spring. That's sort of what they're eyeing for an international rollout. So and this like first wave is called like I think it's called Original Edition. So it's really like a pilot wave if you think about it in Australia, but kind of subsequent waves will with more refinements. That was another thing they really stressed, was like we know that the, you know, Delta's paint here in this case is off. We know that like some of the eyes look a little weird. So they're working on kind of refining it and you know, making it like a little bit more tighter, a little bit more polished for an international release. So that's all good news when they share stuff like that up front.
That's really cool, because these are itty bitty toys, and for them to be actually considering, you know, how they can improve them in terms of the paint, you know, that's actually really cool to hear.
Totally. I mean, I think, like you said, these are just kind of really popular collectibles, and I'm guessing they understand that if they can kind of nail it, that they'll really be onto something. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to kind of see more of them. I can't wait to see just more toys in general outside of Mattel for Jurassic.
Slime.
But yeah, let's get back to Mattel and back to toys on the way from Mattel. There is some more stuff coming out in 2020 that we've maybe heard about since the last show. On collectjurassic.com, I did post a tiny article with some of these photos in it, but we have some new Soundstrike figures. They're repaints. I guess Baryonyx isn't a repaint straight up, but we have a repaint of a Triceratops and Pteranodon. Tell me, Victoria, how excited are you to collect another repainted Triceratops?
You know, I would tell you that I'm honestly not that excited, but it seems different enough for me to be like, oh, okay, I'll take it.
You're in.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's definitely got sort of that Camp Cretaceous vibe to it. It's a Camp Cretaceous Triceratops. I mean, that's the packaging says that. I don't know if I remember this one from the show, but you know, the coloration is very like vivid.
I don't remember any Triceratops in the show now that you mention it.
I don't think there was any. Yeah, but maybe they're to come. I don't know. But I just like the paint application on this one. It does look very like just saturated and cartoony in a good way.
It is very cartoony. It's like a dark, like, I don't know, what would you call that, like a gray or something?
Yeah, it's weird.
Blue.
But it's different.
It's different. The one that I'm not terribly excited about is this flying reptile that's coming
Pteranodon,
back.
Yeah. I don't like these. I just don't like this figure. Like, period.
I don't either. And the colors on it are just seem really repetitive to me.
Yeah, this figure to me, we talk about a lot of stuff we don't like, you know, from the Mattel line, and we talk a lot about like Dimetrodon and some of the other poor ones we pick on, but we don't pick on this big Pteranodon nearly
You're
enough.
right.
It's huge.
It is. It's really huge. Yeah, it's not very practical. Like if you want to display these on the shelf, I hate putting these on the shelf because it's like, okay, well, they're going to take up half my shelves where I'm going to put everything else. And
I know.
It's just, I don't want
I have their wings all folded up and they're like stacked and like in a row, like behind everything. You can't even really see them. I like the little Pteranodons from Mattel. I think those are rad.
Yeah, I agree. I like those a lot better.
Yeah.
And they're the appropriate size to the films. So
yeah. No, this is just like a big, like, it's just like a big toy. Like, it's not like an action figure to me. It doesn't like do anything. I think some of these, this Pteranodon mold, I think some of them have like a little bit of articulation with the neck, but for the most part, it's just a flying Pteranodon toy.
It's a flying hunk of plastic that is in that. It's coming back in pumpkin spice for 2020, I guess.
Pumpkin spice Pteranodon. Yes, that is what this is. I was trying to kind of figure out how I would judge this paint application. Yeah, pumpkin spice Pteranodon coming
2.0.
back.
2.0, because we had a pumpkin spice one in the helicopter set.
Yes, yeah, that's true. We did have. This is like, wow, this one is actually kind of similar to that too. But yeah, again, it has that Camp Cretaceous sort of cartoony vibe. But one of the figures that I'm truly excited about is this Baryonyx Grimm, because it's Soundstrike. So it's not just a simple, re-release of Baryonyx. It actually has some new functionality. Yeah,
we haven't had Baryonyx and Soundstrike quite yet. I know in the last episode we were like, how many Baryonyxes are there? There's tons of them.
Yeah.
But most of them don't really do much, and this one actually does because it's a Soundstrike.
Yep. Yeah, and you can kind of assume, just off of all the other Soundstrike figures we've got, is that the jaw will be articulated too, so you can actually close your Baryonyx's mouth for once.
Oh, wow.
You can finally shut that mouth.
That would be really, really nice. And being able to shut it when it's not like an unintentional defect for the toy, because I've seen that. But no, this is cool, and the colors are actually not bad looking.
Yeah, it's got that waterline effect, that's just kind of how some I think maybe alligators sort of have that waterline coloration sometimes that lets them have a kind of appear like they blend in with the water's edge. But
good observation.
I don't know who Baryonyx Grimm is. Do you? I never heard the name Grimm in Camp Cretaceous.
Yeah, was there even Baryonyx in the show? I don't even remember.
No, there was no Baryonyx. So
okay.
This one's sort of I don't know, either something that was cut from the show or something to come in future seasons. I'm willing to bet the latter.
Yeah, maybe a deleted scene, but more likely it's going to come in season 2.
Right. But that's probably it for Camp Cretaceous toys on the way that we know about. A couple more figures are more repaints. Massive Biter Albertosaurus, Massive Biter Sarcosuchus. What do you think of these?
I kind of dig them, actually. The Albertosaurus is okay, but I'm really digging what I'm seeing with the Sarcosuchus.
Me too. Sarcosuchus was super popular when it came out. I didn't really love the paint job. It was just very, humdrum. And this is a little more wild, and I can get after that. Yeah.
So the last one was painted basically like the first Albertosaurus from Walmart. And this one's kind of, I think I mentioned it to you before, but it's kind of somewhat painted like the hatchling Ankylosaurus from the Kenner line.
Yeah, a little bit, especially with the Ankylosaurus has its bony plates painted much more contrasted than the rest of the body. So that's what this sort of feels like with that top ridge scale. But I just like that splash of color on this side too. But I will say about the Albertosaurus in its defense, there's not an Albertosaurus figure from Mattel that I don't like, so I'm sure that I'm going to love this one. It's one of those weird ones where I can tell that it doesn't photograph super well, especially because the both photos that we have of it, they look totally different from one another. So we'll have to wait and see what this one looks like in person. I know that last Albertosaurus, I think people called it the crest Albertosaurus, or it kind of had a toothpaste color in photos, and minty Albertosaurus, but getting it in hand, it looks awesome.
Yeah, no, that's fun stuff. Definitely fun stuff. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here.
Yep, and I think this stuff will be out towards the end of 2020, if not early 2021. So new stuff right around the corner to collect, because we all can't stop.
Yeah, we'll never be able to stop.
Nope.
All right, so as we take a gander into our trophy room, we're going to talk about the latest acquisitions that we've added to our collections within the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park realm. So I think, Tim, one of the more recent things that's just starting to hit retail, particularly at Target and also online, Target.com and Amazon, are the new Savage Strikes, our brand new wave that features Velociraptor Delta and our new Savage Strike Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, these are cool figures. I think I got mine from a mixture of Amazon and Target, but people have been finding them in store. Let's get the cool stuff out of the way. Velociraptor Delta, what do you think?
This is my favorite raptor that Mattel has done thus far for the 3 3/4 inch scale, hands down.
That's a high mark of approval because there's some really good raptors. I think they've made about 312 different raptor figures so far.
Yeah,
so,
and most of them are boob grabbers.
yeah, but there's some good ones in there, like the battle damage figures. But I don't know if I'm ready to put this one on top, but this is an awesome figure. Regardless of it being Delta, it's just a cool looking raptor. Like the eyes really pop from that dark paint color. And I think this Savage Strike mold is one of the better raptor molds.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel like battle damage is still like my favorite overall, like in terms of the sculpt.
Yeah.
But this is definitely like a close second. And in terms of like paint, I just love it. The execution on it is just, to me, it's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really nice figure, for sure. And Dilophosaurus, I was really excited about this one when I saw it at Toy Fair for 5 minutes. Dilophosaurus, we don't get enough Dilophosaurus figures, and for whatever reason, it just seems like one of those figures that never gets the love it deserves. So I was excited to see them kind of do an all new figure for it, versus repainting that, what's the one that squirts water?
The previous Savage Strike.
Yeah, exactly. So it was kind of interesting to see a new take on it, but in hand, I'm not as impressed with it.
Yeah, this is the one that Target was supposed to release, isn't it? Or was that the previous Savage Strike? That was the previous one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is a brand new sculpt. This is something that, we obviously get excited about things that are brand new sculpts with new play features that we haven't seen before, even if the species is repetitive. And in this case, on paper, it sounds like something exciting. But when you actually get it in hand, I agree. There are a few things about it that make it a little underwhelming.
Right. Yeah. It's just there's. I'm going to save it because we're definitely going to be getting a little bit more into a spitter debate later in the show. But there's more it could have been, and I appreciate what they tried to do with a new figure, but I definitely have some critiques of it. But again, I'll save it for when we're really kind of getting down and talking about Dilophosaurus later on. But yeah, I mean, always happy to add another Dilophosaurus to the collection.
Absolutely.
Another figure that came out recently, since we've last recorded, that we've both collected, is the Soundstrike Sinoceratops. This is definitely one of the better figures that have come from Mattel in a long time, in my opinion.
Yeah, so this was a really exciting one. We've in the last episode we talked about how the pre-orders had gone up, and how there was that whole thing with the first Sinoceratops, not really being a Sinoceratops, right. And now that we have a proper Sinoceratops in the line, I was blown away when it came in. Honestly, it's hands down a favorite for me. I don't know if I put it maybe in the top 10, but it is certainly a gorgeous figure. Yeah,
I think there's something to when they're able to base it off of film design, versus just like a fresh dinosaur that's not in the film. They must use digital files or something. This figure looks 100% like accurate to the film sculpt wise. It's just very, very, very true to the film. And I think when you open it out of the box, the first thing that I kind of am impressed by is this is a lot of toy for $15. I mean, it's a big, hunky Soundstrike figure. Some of the other figures, in this price assortment don't feel quite as hefty, but yeah, exactly. Exactly. How are these figures even in the same toy line? I don't even know. Sinoceratops is just really, really cool. It's got these cool black eyes that they look they just look alive. I'm very impressed with this figure. The paint on it is a little light compared to the movie, but again, I think that's a Camp Cretaceous kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it almost looks like Camp Cretaceous, color, kind of like the color grading or something. Yeah, it sort of has that sort of aesthetic to it. But yeah, you're right. It is a beefier figure. It's actually the largest of the ceratopsians we have so far. If you compare it, it's a little bit taller. It's a little bit girthier, and I like the colors. I mean, I'm glad. I like how they muted it a little bit. It just, for me, for some reason, it works. And you're totally right. If you compare it to something like Dilophosaurus, which is clearly just something Mattel made, I mean, it's light years better since it is based off of something official.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's definitely a good one. So nice to see them right that wrong with Ceratops finally and do it in such an astonishing way. It was kind of worth the wait. But yeah, I know we were talking about McDonald's toys earlier on, and you kind of alluded to the pile of plain cheeseburgers that you had to consume in order to get your toys. How'd you make out? Were you able to get a full set?
I did. It took me a few weeks. But I was able to get a full set. And the way that I did it is, I would just call around. I didn't always have the best luck. There were a couple of times where I called and they said they had something. I went, they didn't have it.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they wouldn't answer the phone. Sometimes the dial-up internet signal would come on.
Yeah.
Sometimes the answering machine would come on, and I was just like, all right, I'm just going to go try my luck. But generally speaking, I waited until I was able to get a hold of somebody and confirm, yes, we have number 2, we have number 5. And, I would go and, I made sure to grab 2 of each time I went. That way I could have a set to open and a set to not open. For
sure. Definitely. Yeah. No, I kind of did the same thing. It's funny that, I always think it's funny what different collectors are comfortable with, what they're willing to do. And, I'm not willing to call McDonald's ahead of time and talk to somebody. I feel just too judged. So but for me, I'm totally down to go into the drive-thru and be like, I don't want to order any food, but what toys do you have? So I'm willing to do that, but I'm not willing to call. But yeah, I basically got the whole set. I missed out on Triceratops and a book, but that's okay because I got a backup from eBay. But I'm still hoping to track a couple more down just to have extras to help some people out. But overall, I think I did pretty well. I mean, and I did a lot of it without eating plain cheeseburgers because I did the toys by themselves.
I think every time that I bought a toy, I also bought a plain cheeseburger, which is really bad. But I don't go to McDonald's that often to begin with when when it's not a Jurassic promotion. So I just kind of, I never did buy a Happy Meal though. I never got a Happy Meal with the toy. I always bought the toy separately.
You never got the Happy Meal box?
I didn't, and I wouldn't have kept it anyway. That's not really the kind of stuff I collect. I mean, I know it looked really awesome.
Toy.
It looked awesome in pictures and stuff. And, maybe before the promotion ends, I'll go back one more time and just, play the mystery game, see what I end up with for the toy. And
Buzz Lightyear.
I'll get the Happy Meal box. Yeah, exactly. It'll be Buzz Lightyear or something from Minions from 2 months ago.
It was definitely fun, though. It was a little painful, but it was fun. I'm just hoping... I think what was painful about it was, they're allegedly released sequentially, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, but it wasn't like that. It was
right.
We have 3 this week, and then we have 6 next week, and we're carrying 2 the week after that. It's it kind of made it hard to be strategic about it.
Right, which is interesting because when I did the Halloween Hello Kitty last October, they were released sequentially. You could depend on going
Very
and
firm.
they'd have it was sequential. And I actually started the second week. There were 4 weeks. I think it was 4 weeks. I started the second week and I'd missed out on the first one. I had to go to eBay to get one of them. But it was they were sequential. So it's really interesting how they did it this time.
Yeah, I feel like that just makes it so much easier, at least for people like us that are, compulsive about getting every single one, to have that, dependability that next week I can come back and get the one I'm missing, which I thought I had that with this. One of the McDonald's was like, oh no, we don't have number 8, the Triceratops, but next week we will because we have 7 right now, and no, they did not. So
yeah.
Oh well, you win some, you lose some, and it was still kind of a fun little hunt versus Target and Walmart.
Yeah, let's just not do it again for another year.
Yeah. Speaking of another fun hunt, one of the things that I recently procured, and I do have a review of it on my YouTube channel if anyone's interested, is this Camp Cretaceous Ceratosaurus Clash set. Still waiting for this one to show up in the U.S., but I couldn't wait any longer and got it from a friend in Mexico. It's pretty cool, though. It's all repaints, but the Ceratosaurus is worth it. Is worth it for me. I don't know if it was worth how much I paid for it, but it's worth it. It makes the set itself worth it.
Yeah, no, it's we talked about this set I think 2 episodes ago, how the images had leaked out, how it was hitting in Mexico and places outside the U.S. and we went into detail about what exactly was in the set. So no, it's really cool, and it looks like the ones that you got, the boxes that I saw were in immaculate condition.
Yeah, that was a plus, definitely. Whenever you take something in from another country or any more another state, you always run the risk of getting your toys damaged. So happy to see that they arrived in good condition. And another thing to cross off the list, another toy like Grimm Stratosaurus. I don't remember seeing a Stratosaurus in the show, so kind of more foreshadowing or hinting that there was either more seasons planned, or that there was some content that didn't make it into the first season. Hard to say. Yeah,
very hard, but no, really cool.
Yeah, and speaking of Camp Cretaceous, we're going to go over and take a look at... speaking of Camp Cretaceous, let's go ahead and head over to camp and learn all about this incredible show that just premiered on Netflix. What was it? September 18th, so not that long ago.
Yeah, just, about a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, we got Camp Cretaceous, brand new first animated Jurassic Park-related series. And... we were excited about that. Obviously the Jurassic community was really hyped and jazzed that this was going to be coming out, and finally launched. And I think most of us watched it. I don't know, how many days did it take you to watch it?
I took 3 days to watch it just because, I couldn't start watching it till later at night, and B, I was just trying to savor it a little bit, but I know a lot of people just binge it straight up.
Yeah, no, I took about the same. It took like 3 days for me to finish it.
Yeah.
And, it's cool. I only watched through it once. I haven't gone back to look at it again. I'd like to, pretty soon here, but I was really impressed with it, to be honest. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't expecting like it to be like Disney quality, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But I was actually really impressed. I thought it was really, really good.
Right. I was very impressed too. I think I had my expectations not lowered, but I was just like, I know people are like, oh, it's the first Jurassic show. Like, it's got to be this and this and this and this to be like truly Jurassic. And I was like, ooh, I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be like, kind of very like, not kiddie, but just like very like safe and kind of a diluted, accessible Jurassic. But I mean, they really captured some stuff about just core Jurassic that I think the new movies are kind of like skip out on. Like just the kids against the dinosaurs. It just had like a very like Amblin sort of feel that Jurassic Park definitely has, as far as like, the kids sort of being in peril. I was very, very impressed, and that's not just like the biased Jurassic fan in me. I definitely had, measured expectations that were totally blown away.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was trying to think of like any of the animated stuff Universal does, and, a lot of it has like, humor, and a lot of, goes over the top, stuff like that. And, so I wasn't really... I had low expectations as well, but when I actually saw it, I just thought everything about it was good. I mean, the animation was great. The colors, just the, I was kind of worried a little bit about the kids, as I was thinking like, well, are they going to be annoying? Are they going to be like, what are they going to be like? But I kind of found all of them to be very likable.
Yeah. No, even the annoying ones were like likable, or like grew to be likable. I mean, you have Ben, who was just like this giant worrywart, but like towards the end, you totally like were there for him. And then Kenji, sort of like the jerk rich kid, like he was great. Like he was super funny, and he definitely like had some insightful things that he kind of shared with different characters that made him more than just like a bully that you didn't like.
Right. Yeah. All of the kids had their own sort of arc, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Right. It's a lot to pack in, but they did it.
Yeah. And, there was that one episode that, where they were on the train, and this was interesting because you wouldn't really expect this, it's a kids animated show, but most of the episode, they were just on the train talking. Like there weren't dinosaurs for most of it. They were just on the train, and they were having conversations about themselves. And, it led up to a pretty big moment with Ben, like, a little bit later. But I was just really surprised that Universal took that approach with this episode to make it so dialogue heavy.
I feel like the whole show had a lot of talking, which, when I first watched it, I was like, I have a 4-year-old, and I was like, I'd love for him to get after this, but like, I don't know if he's going to sit and just watch kids talk. Punctuated by dinosaur action here and there, but he's seen it a few times, like the whole series. He definitely likes it, and I think that kind of goes towards The characters kind of being funny and interesting, and like even for a 4-year-old, like they're likable enough that they can sort of watch them in their hijinks without worrying about dinosaurs. But of course, when the dinosaurs come, everybody shows up for that, and that's the dinosaurs in this show are like, they look just as good as the movie somehow, even though they're in an animated kind of flick.
Yeah, no, everything was really good about it. I know there are a couple of blips in there that, I had caught where, you look at the show and then like the pteranodons froze like in mid-flight.
I've seen that. I will say I didn't like the mosasaurus. It looked a little like claymation or something. Something about it looked weird, but I thought all the other dinosaurs, the raptors, Toro, Indominus, all the herbivores like Sinoceratops, like all that stuff just looked terrific.
Yeah, I agree that the mosasaur did seem a little bit less threatening than it does in the films, I would say. But
yeah, right. Like if you're in the mosasaur lagoon, like for a second, you're dead.
Right.
Yeah, you're not like paddling around getting away from it. And that was a cool scene though. Like that's what I wanted to talk to you about was like, one of my favorite things about this show was getting to see more parts of the island that we didn't get to see in any of the movies.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of it. We've always said, this is a big island. There's parts in each of the films that focus on this island: Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. They always go to different areas. There's the familiar ones, of course, but there's also areas that are new each time we see these films. And, the same thing is true here. Yeah, they went to the main part of the park, the visitor center or the innovation center, however it's called. Mm-hmm. Is it Innovation Center?
Yes.
The Innovation Center.
But they didn't really go to it, to be fair. They went to a research station. But yeah, they went to that Main Street, I guess is what you call it.
Yeah, they went to Main Street. They went to the Mosasaur Lagoon. So, there's familiar locations, but they also expanded upon it by, obviously Camp Cretaceous is something we haven't seen before.
Yeah, in and of itself, right.
Yeah.
I thought, did you catch the name of the kayaking attraction?
Oh, that was good. I don't know certainly what the name is, but
it's River Adventure.
River Adventure. So not quite Cretaceous Cruise, unless that's a different.
Right. No, they couldn't call it probably Cretaceous Cruise because of the show being called Camp Cretaceous. But I like that they called it River Adventure because that's like a very big callback to Jurassic Park: The Ride. That I thought was maybe it wasn't on purpose, but I thought it was clever. But that was one of my favorite bits, was them doing the kayaking, just because.
Me too.
Yeah, it's so cool because it's like if I ever got to go to Jurassic World, kayaking in like bioluminescent caves would be so cool. And it's like that's right up my alley.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminded me a bit of when I went to New Zealand a couple years ago. We went to these caves and they had these bioluminescent glowworms that were inside the caves. Like they were darkened, but the cave, it looked like nighttime, like you were just looking up at the stars.
And that's probably what they got the idea from. That's so cool.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. But of course, they had dinosaurs, which is even cooler. So.
Yeah, right. No, it was just a cool bit. And I hope kind of in future seasons, like we get to keep exploring whether it's like attractions, because we know there's all kinds of stuff in Jurassic World we never got to see, like the Packy Arena and like the some of the enclosures for the animals, like wherever Baryonyx lives, all that stuff. Like I'd love to see just way more of the park. I'd love to see them go to like Jurassic Park, like the old visitor center or some other old infrastructure. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, no, it would be. I don't know. I feel like a season 2 is likely, so I'm sure we'll visit a lot of these places that we want to see.
I hope so. It's just it's funny, with Netflix shows, they're usually so quick to announce that they have a second season, but it's like with Camp Cretaceous, they're playing their cards so close. It's like, clearly it was a successful show. Clearly you have all this merchandise and stuff lined up to keep coming out. You just won't say that there's more of the show coming.
Right. Hopefully
I do know
we get
that there's
soon.
Yeah, I know like at the whatever digital version of New York Comic Con is coming up, there is a panel for Camp Cretaceous, so would be, a fair bet to say there's probably going to be some sort of piece of news to come out of that.
Yeah. Fingers crossed that, we get that news and we can start speculating about season 2, and not only season 2, but also what kind of toys it might inspire.
Exactly. That's what we really care about, is what kind of toys will inspire. But yeah, it sounds like we're both thoroughly impressed and sort of, anxious to see the potential of the whole Jurassic sort of, universe further fleshed out in this show.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, so it's that time again for a little Jurassic Clash. We're going to be talking about some of our dinosaurs in our collections, pitting them up one against the other, and see who reigns supreme. So, Tim, who are we looking at this week?
We're looking at a sort of a fresh release, sort of mixed with a bunch of releases we've had over the past couple of years, and that's the Dilophosaurus. We already talked about the new Savage Strike Dilophosaurus earlier in the show, so we're going to be looking at the previous Savage Strike as well as some of the other Dilophosaurs that Mattel has released. We're not going to extend it to, the vintage stuff. I know with Packy we went like way far back, but there's a lot of Dilophosaurs in the Jurassic toy line, but I think for this episode we're just going to stick to Mattel. So let's go ahead and get started. I think the first thing should we just knock paint out of the way, since there's sort of some repetition going on here? I
think so. So for our Savage Strikes, we have two unique sculpts. So there's only one paint scheme of each sculpt, so those are kind of fixed. Mm-hmm. But for our Attack Pack style Dilophosaurus, there are at least 3 different ones. Yeah. 4 actually, right?
But yeah, you can basically count one as 4. But yeah, that's the Attack Pack. It's one of the first Attack Packs, one of the first toys we got from Mattel for Jurassic World. I remember seeing those pictures a million years ago, like before they came out. Someone had like a picture of them on the table. I was like in love at first sight. But this Dilophosaurus is one of the figures. That first Attack Pack Dilophosaurus, that paint job, it's pretty kind of it's pretty bare bones.
Yeah, to say the least. So I guess that's the first regular one that was out. Yeah. But then specialty stores, like I think like maybe Walgreens or certain stores like that, or Big Lots, had these 2-packs. Remember, where it was like a Dimorphodon and a Raptor, or a Gallimimus and a Dilophosaurus, things like that. So there was a Dilophosaurus, the same one, in this particular 2-pack. And this one had more of like what would you even call these colors? Like
Aqua Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, it's like a bluish. It's weird. It's kind of hard to pinpoint.
Like
the
I said,
colors.
it's like an aquatic Dilophosaurus. I like that one though. It's one of my favorite Attack Pack.
No, I
versions.
do too.
It's a cool one.
Yeah, it is cool.
I did realize that there's 2 more that we have to talk about for this. There was one that was in there's 2 different Legacy figure packs that came out when Jurassic World Mattel toys first came out. Sorry, not Legacy, just multi-packs at Target. And one of them had another Dilophosaurus that its paint application's sort of close to that aqua as far as like the patterns and goes, but it wasn't blue. And then we have, of course, the Legacy Dilophosaurus Attack Pack that came in the Legacy figure pack with Alan Grant and like a Raptor and some other stuff. Uh-huh. That's a cool Dilophosaurus. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And then, we mentioned the Destructosaurus one, which is kind of like a brownish gold color.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, like as far as articulation goes, which we can go over. But the paint application, it's kind of got a cool paint application, I think.
Yeah, like none of them are that bad, other than like the plain like Attack Pack one that came out. Yeah. That one's just not. There's really nothing too great about it. The other ones are all right.
Yeah, they all have the cool frill patterning on them, except for that first one. It kind of just has a boring frill, but the Destructosaur frill is really cool looking.
Yes. But this Legacy one, I mean, a lot of the Legacy collection was intended to somehow or other tie into the original Jurassic Park films.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how far they succeeded with a lot of that stuff, because some of it was kind of weird. Yeah. But some of it was kind of cool, and I think the Dilophosaurus is one of those better paint schemes.
Definitely. It feels very movie accurate, very spot on. For Savage Strikes, as far as paint goes, we have the purple spitter, literally the water spitting Dilophosaurus. When pictures of this one came out, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and then I bought it, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and I'm still not really sure how I feel about this crazy paint job.
I mean, I like it in lieu of like a film accurate color palette. If they wanted to do something different, I think they definitely accomplished that. It has like a kind of like a retro, like 80s sort of like quality to it.
Yeah, no, totally. Definitely. Sort of like 80s like VR like weird computer scape thing. I don't know. It gives me some sort of vibe to it for sure. And I just kind of talking right now, it's like I like the purple because it kind of reminds me of like a dart frog or something. Like you have this venomous animal that would kind of, besides its colorful frill, you'd see it kind of lurking around in the jungle and be like, oh, that's dangerous. I'm going to steer clear of that. So that wild paint job definitely gets the job done.
Yeah, no, it definitely stands out. It's different from anything else Mattel has done.
Yeah. And then we have the final, most latest figure, the Savage Strike that you and I both just bought here in the last couple of weeks. What do you think about the paint application on this one?
I'm not really digging this one. I mean, on the surface, it's like, okay, it's green. So, Dilophosaurus, I think most of us think of them as being green from Jurassic. Mm-hmm. It's green. The frill pattern, it's not bad. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the backside of it, and it has these like really bright, like blech, garish orange colors. Yeah. Like, why?
Just like bleh. Just like splattered them on there and moved on. Yeah, I mean, even the frill for me, like I feel like the attack packs have a cooler looking frill than this one. It's interesting because it's a $10 figure, and like we usually see a little bit more love put into these paint apps, but this latest one's paint app just looks like cheaper than an attack pack to me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there. It's just, I don't know what happened there, but they definitely, it doesn't hold up to the level of, other attack packs that we've gotten. It's just, Savage Strikes that we've gotten.
No, not at all.
So it's, yeah.
I can see this. I mean, we can talk about sculpt next, but like I can see this figure looking better with a different paint job.
Oh,
but
yeah.
The paint job we have is just not, it's definitely not going to win the category. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to pick a winner for this one, though, right?
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that Legacy Dilophosaurus is kind of the easy win for me.
I think I agree. I'm looking at the purple one too, though. And like I said, there's nothing film accurate about it whatsoever, but I feel like they did go all out with making sure that
different.
Exactly, it's different. And not only do you have the purple base color, but the belly is like a silvery color. Mm-hmm. The frills have like a red, orange, and yellow, and like a lighter orange. The back has, like this, I don't know, what would you call that? Like red, kind of like a red color.
And I love how its crests are like a totally different color than the rest of the body too.
Yeah, like a pinkish red color.
Yeah.
So.
No, it definitely has a lot more going on. Again, put this Savage Strike Dilophosaurus next to the other one. It's like you can't believe they're in the same toy line, same price assortment when one has so much more complexity to its paint job than the other.
Yeah.
Sounds like we're calling this one a draw.
Let's call it a draw.
I know that I'm not a big fan of. I said I didn't know how to feel about it, but we're co-hosts. This is democracy, so we're gonna say it's a tie. All right, cool. And then that brings us to sculpt. Again, those attack pack figures all have the same sort of very streamlined basic sculpt. Honestly, it's even more for an attack pack. It's a tiny figure.
Yeah, that's the smallest one. It is too small, and the pose is kind of weird. They're kind of in these upright sort of poses. I mean, you can try and like hunch him over a little bit more, but then he starts facing the ground, and it just doesn't work. So it's definitely the lightest sculpt. If you're talking about sculpted detail and you compare it to the others, there's definitely less detail there.
Yeah, and I think this is a criticism that will probably reach all the figures in this Jurassic Clash, but the way that they kind of handled the frills and like the pins that hold it in, like it's just kind of clunky. I know in a lot of my attack pack figures for Dilophosaur, like I had like issues with how the frill like closed back all the way because these hinges are just like these big giant pieces of plastic that are hooked up to other pieces of plastic, and it's just kind of a janky way to do it. I don't know why they're so weird about having a removable frill, because some of these Dilophosaurs came with removable venom,
right?
Which is kind of a random thing. Just a little tiny paperclip sized piece that kids can lose.
I don't get it. Maybe it's some part of it is, losing a piece of the dinosaur that you can't replace. But like you're saying, there's venom that's removable. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't get that. I think, if they took the Amber Collection approach and, did that for this 3 3/4 inch scale, I think that'd be ideal.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. So the Tac Pack sculpt is nothing to write home about. I did want to say that the Destructosaur version has a little bit extra detail in that the jaw is articulated, so you can kind of see like it's just sculpted a tiny bit different in terms of sculpt, but we can kind of get into articulation more with that particular variation. So these are basically all the same though, all the same sculpt.
Yeah.
But that Savage Strike, that purple water spitter Dilophosaurus, that's a nice looking figure.
It is. If we're talking about film accuracy, I think this one is far superior to the Attack Pack. The face sculpt looks a lot closer to what we see in Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Just proportionately speaking, it seems a lot more balanced.
Yeah,
than,
and bigger.
The Attack
It's a little
Pack.
bigger.
And it's a little bigger, too.
Yeah, no, I really like this one. And, we'll kind of jump ahead and come back to the new Savage Strike Dilophosaurus is like hunched down, like really hunched down, almost like hunched down and looking up. So it's kind of like, kind of prowling and sort of attacking. It's a very awkward neutral pose. But this first Savage Strike, the purple water spitter, it has the best neutral pose because it's like it's just perfect for, we talk a lot about toy photography. It's like it's just got a nice pose that you can move it around and kind of get some dynamic poses with it without it looking too forced. I just like kind of how they weighted its body.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's actually a good point. I took this one with me. I went to Portland last year, and I put this one on like a boulder and like took a really cool picture of it. Yeah, you're right. It just looks Jurassic. Like it's kind of hard to define that, but when you look at it, it just looks like a Jurassic Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, no, it's the Jurassic design of Dilophosaurus has a lot of little tiny like nuances that are like easy to get wrong. And I say that because you look at some of the toys we've gotten over the years, even the Kenner Dilophosaurus, it's a classic, but it doesn't look anything like the movie.
Totally.
So I definitely feel like this first Savage Strike Dilophosaurus is probably our runaway winner here.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, that new one is just there's no way you could. I mean, they made a lot of sacrifices to the sculpt in order to accommodate the action feature gimmick, and it's really to the detriment of the figure. It just looks very strange.
Yeah. Yep. It does look strange. Let's head over to articulation. With those Attack Pack figures, the Attack Pack Dilophosaurus, we have the basic arms and legs, and then the frill that opens up. I did say that Destructosaurus Dilophosaurus also has the mouth that opens and closes, which is worth mentioning. You get a nice closed mouth Dilophosaurus if you want one, but pretty basic.
Yeah, that is very basic. I mean, it's articulated like a lot of these Attack Packs are, so... shoulders and legs and the frill, but it never looks right with the frills on these if you don't have them fully open because it doesn't look like that in the movie.
Doesn't look right.
It doesn't look right, yeah.
So I can't tell if we should be grateful that they gave us that like little bit of articulation or if they should have just like sculpted the frill open and like got rid of all the bolts or whatever. I don't know, because having the frill sculpted open feels like a little bit of a cop-out too.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things. It's just they all kind of have it though. So
I feel like we have so many like random obscure species Mattel has made. They're not really like always worried about like the wow factor with how ferocious a Margosaurus looks or something. Like, why can't they just take the frill off and do like a frillless Dilophosaurus figure? I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
But no, here we are stuck with these bolted on frills, which they tried to articulate in every figure. So moving on to like the new the purple Savage Strike Dilophosaurus. Doesn't its tail make its frill open up, or no? Is it just articulated?
Yeah, so on the purple Dilophosaurus, you can close it or you can open it. On the new Savage Strike that we just got, you can't do that because the frill is integrated into the action feature.
Right. Which I think that's one thing I like about the new one, but articulation wise, it makes it a little tougher to sort of score that one high. So we got, that nice neutral pose on the purple Dilophosaurus that kind of lends itself to the articulation because you can kind of do a lot of, again, like unique poses with that neutral pose. Savage Strikes always have a little bit more like of a ball joint too, which, kind of gives them the edge. But this new Savage Strike Dilophosaur, again, with that weird neutral pose, like if you try to like pose him like higher up, he looks like he's, worshiping the sun or something. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
You're totally right.
Yeah, it's just strange.
And you know what? I've noticed that the purple one's legs kind of kick out a little bit.
Yeah.
The newer ones don't really seem to do that. So we're a little bit more limited. And I didn't think this is the way that this was going to go, Tim, but I kind of feel like we're just talking articulation. We kind of got to give it to our purple friend once again.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, the neutral pose really helps that one. But yeah, I mean, something about the attack packs is completely underwhelming, and I think we both agree that not being able to pose the frill on the new Savage Strike Dilophosaur kind of loses that one. But let's talk action features. Attack packs, obviously they don't have any like intrinsic action feature, but they do have that piece of venom, which kind of counts as an action feature a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I look at this and I mean, I like that the venom stays in there. They never fall out, nothing like that. It's just, it's a cool little thing. I mean, you can debate about the color being kind of weird, but it just for posing, just want to have it on the shelf. I mean, I think that's a pretty neat little extra that it came with.
Yeah. A little translucency too. They could have gone real cheap and just did like a solid color plastic. So It's cool. I'm hoping I haven't lost all mine, but it's cool. The purple. Oh, sorry, we should talk about Destructosaur. I don't think you said you opened yours. But they have this like magnet that works with the cages they come with. I don't know. It's probably like a good thing the Destructosaurs didn't get a full release. They were due for Toys R Us. Toys R Us went belly up, and they ended up going to other countries. The magnetic action across all of these is very janky and very inconsistent. You have the helicopter set open, right?
I've got the helicopter set open, and I have the T-Rex with the generator open too.
So you've played with it a little bit, and it's no better on these smaller figures. It's like it just sort of half works, and you also feel like you might be breaking something by using it. I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So the Dilophosaur is the same way. It's like okay. It's just kind of it. I don't know. It's an interesting idea that somehow made it that far into production, because it's definitely not like they aren't still doing it. They're still doing battle damage.
That's true.
But they're not still doing Destructosaurus. So it was kind of a strange thing. I don't think it's going to win the category.
No.
What do you think about the water squirting feature?
I don't like it, Tim.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work as well as the Kenner one. Here's the thing. That's obviously what they were going for. They were inspired by the Kenner figure. The belly is kind of weird. I mean, I kind of like pressing on it with my finger just because it feels kind of good.
It's like your stressed Dilophosaur.
Yeah, but it doesn't look good. Like if you look at the belly, it looks really weird. But the feature itself, it just doesn't do it for me.
It doesn't work. I remember when I got that figure, I was trying to make like a cool little, what do you call those things? Boomerangs, the little like back and forth clip of it. Right. And it took me like 20 minutes to like get this thing filled up with water enough that it would like shoot effectively. Most of the time it just kind of like vomited out the side of its mouth. It didn't like shoot a spray out like it's supposed to. I don't know if I just had a defective one or what. I didn't really care that much, to be honest, but I think there's something about having that like soft belly inside the hard plastic. There must be something going wrong there that's not like the perfect pressure system to work correctly.
Yeah, no, it's not good at all.
Again, and the Kenner Dilophosaurus is good. I mean, it just worked.
It just worked. But you know what you can do, Tim, is you can take the venom from the attack pack and put it in the Savage Strike's mouth. It fits in there perfect.
Huh. There you go. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of lost on the purple Dilophosaurus, but the new action feature for the new Dilophosaurus is actually pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. I'm going to start off by saying that there's something weird about it, though. The action feature works because you lift up the tail.
Yeah.
And it opens its mouth, opens the frill. It just feels awkward. Like, why does I feel like naturally it would have felt more natural if the tail moved down and you activated that feature.
Yeah, I don't know much about pulleys and levers and physics and resistance and why they did it that way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, like, as if you're setting something down at a table and you're being like, I want to make it bite, you're going to want to be pressing down, not like pulling up on the figure you're setting down on the table. So it is a little weird. You probably filmed a review and we're trying to, film it the best way while not putting all of your wrists in the camera. It was
hard.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
was not easy.
I know exactly what you mean. Fellow toy reviewer, I know exactly what you mean. It's hard to do that sometimes. So it's weird that they would do that, but it's a very snappy action and it works really well. It's just very instantaneous. It's if you remember, not that we're comparing like old figures in this, but like the Hasbro Dilophosaurus for Jurassic World, it just kind of had like these floppy frills, that like kind of went out when you act. I don't know. It's so funny, but this new one is just like flick, 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 like it goes in and out. It's kind of neat. I like it.
Yeah. It is fun. I think that's the thing about it. We can talk all day about how awful the sculpt is, how awful the pose is, but if you're getting right down to the action features, to me, this is, clearly the most fun. It replicates something from the movie to some extent. And it's way more fun than the water spitting action of the other one. More fun. Yeah. And it's more fun than the attack pack because the attack pack doesn't really do anything. You just put the thing in there. So, no, this is definitely more fun.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and give action feature 2, the new Dilophosaurus. We might not have had a lot of nice things to say about its paint job or anything, but it does have a really fun action feature, which, again, that's what I remember from Toy Fair, being like, wow, this is so cool, was that snappy little frill action.
Yeah.
All right, moving down to Fun Factor, our final category. Sort of encompassing, just kind of everything all about the figure. Attack packs. What are we thinking about the fun factor for those?
They're not very fun. All they're going to do is stand on your shelf with the venom coming out, which it looks all right, but they're not that fun.
Right, and I kind of think, we always try to put our minds in that of a child and how you'd play with this toy. It's just, there's just not a lot going on to this one.
No.
And I think without the context of the movie, even, like, you really don't know why this figure even is standing up weird with a frill. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just pass over this one for the fun factor. It's not great.
Yeah.
Purple Dilophosaur, though, I mean, I know we don't love the water feature, but the vibrancy definitely adds to the fun factor.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. We're talking about like how fun it looks. Then the purple one definitely looks quite fun.
Yeah, and the fun with the purple one sort of ends there because, again, the water is not super fun. Yeah, it sucks. And again, maybe there's versions out there that work really well, but I certainly didn't have one of those. So A for effort, but doesn't quite fit the bill action feature wise for fun. But again, the paint color is really fun.
Paint color is fun.
Yeah, but the new Dilophosaur, not so fun on the paint color. But again, that action feature is really fun. I do feel like sort of the other things we counted against it don't work well in its favor for this sort of general category. Like the pose it has just really bothers me. I'm just really hung up on the pose.
It's weird. It's just like you're right. It's like it's prowling along and creeping or something. And I don't know. It looks like it's sneaking around somebody's house. Like doesn't want to get caught, so it can like
creeper Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, it's very. So we have the boob grabber, we have the crotch piper. Now we have the creeper Dilophosaurus. Yeah, it's like gonna look into your window at night.
Right. So I mean, I feel like even though the water feature isn't great, it's kind of like a trade-off. The water feature isn't great on the the first Savage Strike Dilophosaurus, but the paint coloration is cool that it makes it fun. Whereas the new Dilophosaurus, the paint kind of is not that great, but the action feature makes it fun. So I feel like we kind of have a little bit of a tie for this category too.
I would tend to agree with you on there.
Yeah. But all the same, tallying up the results, it does look like we have a little bit of a sweep. Sculpt went to the new Dino Rivals Purple Dilophosaurus.
Okay.
paint was a tie between the legacy Dilophosaurus and the purple Dilophosaurus. Articulation went to the purple Dilophosaurus. Action went to the new Dilophosaurus, and fun factor went to the new one and the purple one. So purple won, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the categories, not counting ties.
That's interesting, Tim, because I going into this, I thought that one was definitely not going to win. But when you actually that's what we like to do. This we like to talk about them and break them down, go through these things, line by line, because ultimately when you're talking about the totality of the package, that the purple one's the most well-rounded.
For sure, and it kind of makes you realize kind of what we're missing, because the legacy Dilophosaurus that we really like the paint on, that's a great figure, but for that likeness, but it kind of ends there. There's really nothing else going on with it. But at one time they were going to release the Savage Strike Dilophosaurus, the purple one, the water spitting feature. They were going to release that with those legacy colors, and it was going to be glorious. It was going to be the best Mattel Dilophosaurus figure we ever had and ever would have. But it didn't come to pass for whatever reason. And that just kind of shows you like what we broke down here. Like you combine a couple of these categories, combine a couple of these features, you could really do a really cool figure.
Yeah, it's no, totally. Maybe if we get the purple Dilophosaurus in more legacy-ish colors, that will have maybe not the definitive Dilophosaurus, but will be a little bit closer by having something that's more film accurate. It's already film accurate in terms of sculpt, but in terms of color, if we were to get something from Mattel Official, like a repack that is painted more like the legacy one, I think that one would clearly, I think a lot of people would like that.
Yeah, that would be tremendously popular. I think that's a no-brainer, and hopefully they have something planned like that on the way. We know they have the Amber Collection Dilophosaurus with some pretty film accurate coloration, so it's not that far off to think they would port that down to the 3.75 inch line.
Definitely. Thank you for listening. I'm Victoria.
And I'm Tim. And for even more Jurassic collecting info, please check us out online. You can visit our official website, collectjurassic.com. And we're also on social media at collectjurassic on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also be sure to check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/collectjurassic.
And you can find me by visiting the Victoria's Cantina YouTube channel. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Victoria's Cantina, and on Twitter at Vic's Cantina. You can also find the Cantina Chatter podcast as well as the Discoveryland show wherever you listen to podcasts.
And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and an excellent review. Those are the park rules.
You can also get in touch with us by sending a message to the Fax Machine. That's collectjurassic@gmail.com.
So thank you for visiting, and we hope you've enjoyed your trip to the park.
Ladies and gentlemen, the park is closed. Please make your way towards the East Dock. We hope you'll book a return visit for another adventure into Collect Jurassic World.